feeling a certain way.
Awesome. All right. Welcome to the Adaptive Podcast. We're excited for you guys to join us. This is our pilot episode. We're kind of looking to explain our vision and direction for our brand. The three of us are lifelong friends, and together we found a strong passion for jujitsu and a commitment to really improving our overall quality of life. Our goal is to provide content that will create thought-provoking concepts and growth within the jiu-jitsu community that we are part of and want to extend out. But we also want to have fun, loose conversation about a very large array of topics, whether it be sports, current events, whatever it may be. We will also be reaching out to our followers to include topics they want to talk about. So people who will be connected to our IG page, Reddit, and other social media platforms could ask us to talk about certain things, and we may bring that up with particular guests. And we look forward to growing with you. So adapt or get tapped. So let's get started. So we want to kind of explain who we are. So I guess we should start with our elder jiu-jitsu statement, our resident brown belt. And Eddie, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started?
Started February 2014. I was introduced to it. Well, where we train is right now currently Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu. Been training with our professor ever since they opened up their school, which wasn't Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu in the beginning. It was Jaguar BJJ. And then we were affiliated with Team Jukau and then broke off and became Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, I started 8 years ago, February. Basically got into it because I've had a love for martial arts pretty much my whole life. Although I didn't really start doing it until like my mid-20s. I started Muay Thai like 10 years ago. Did that for a couple of years. And then was looking for a new gym to train jiu-jitsu because I kind of, I like striking a lot, but our gym kind of got broken up, and then I really wanted to do jiu-jitsu because I was really watching UFC a lot at the time, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that. I did like 2 no-gi classes at the old school that I was doing Muay Thai at, so I was like really interested in doing it. So fast forward a little bit to like the end of 2013, actually, our man Lenny over here, I was searching for a place with him, and my brother called me up one random night and was like, I tried out this place. He met it through his co-manager from Tasty Subs at the time. He used to train with Raji. And basically he told us about it. And then the next day I remember going there and it was like, boom, went in, signed up immediately. I just knew I wanted to do it because, Raji was a, great vibe the guys had there. And we started with them from the beginning. We were like maybe four or five students to start with, and pass this off to Lenny. Lenny, when'd you, what's your story behind your journey? Oh no.
Yeah. So, well, as we were looking for a school together to start training and all that. And I'm sure you remember we had mats right in the basement of my mom's place.
Oh man, I totally forgot.
Even though it was like completely cemented off foundation of a 4-bedroom house, somehow we would still like shake the whole place just from training in the basement. And we'd be like learning moves off of YouTube, which was actually a lot of fun. And then I remember when we started Jaguar. What year did you say it was? It was
2014,
2013, 14
14
in February. So it was freezing. And I think we had already sold the house and we're living in that small apartment in Edison. For anyone who's listening, by the way, and doesn't know us personally, is Edison, New Jersey. All this is going on. Edison, Woodbridge, Ford's area. And I just remember it being freezing cold, like running down the stairs with my gi and packing it in the car, and just the gym too would be so cold, but being so excited about training this new jiu-jitsu. I mean, it was just instantly addicting, right? Just kind of learning moves and the obvious fundamentals of it, like, oh, cool, right? It's martial arts, it's moves to be able to combat and defend yourself. And I think just the mental game of it and the physical challenge is really what drew me in. And the prospect of learning something new, is always exciting, and you learn new stuff. And really, how often do you pick up new things as an adult, right? We were both in our mid late 20s when we started, so I think it was just something new. And also, it's tough to get into sports at that time too. I think that's the other thing that got me into it, right? Something that I was missing in my life, just being older, and one, not wanting to be injured somehow in some kind of organized sport. So I think the rate of injury for a non-competitor really like me is probably much lower than someone who's like trying to play football or something, right? Ankle and knee injuries and shit that you really just can't afford when you're in your mid 30s. Um, I'll segue over into Elijah, and he, like he mentioned in the beginning, we've all been friends for many, many years. Probably going on 20 years at this point. And Elijah's always been athletic, and we've kind of always been in his ear trying to convince him and amongst our other friends in our group to get into the sport. And we're happy when you joined. So why don't you tell us some about that?
It took us 6 years to con you in.
It only took 6 years.
Yeah, it took a very long time, and it's not because I didn't respect it. It's because with anything in life, you kind of fear the unknown, and when I looked at the sport, in my eyes at the time, for me to sacrifice my time to do a martial art didn't make sense, because I had put so much time into playing baseball, into playing basketball, even doing some flag football there, and coaching a lot. And that's been really something that I've learned in my my 30s, is that I'm a good teacher, I'm a good coach, and it was something that I love diving into. I want to learn something so I could share that with another human, so I could show somebody else, like, this is how good this feels when you understand it. And with all the time I had spent in all those other sports, for me to just make the transition to something that, from watching, good friends of mine like Lenny and Eddie go into it and then just be sucked in. They were, committed to that, to the point where, Eddie and Lenny both had played on a softball team that I ran. And like, there was times where they were like, yeah, I can't make it because I got jujitsu. And I was like, what? Like, you don't want to come play softball? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, and then 2019 rolled around, and I was really unhappy with myself. I was mentally, I was distraught. There was a lot of things that were affecting me. And when it came to the sports that I was always so good at, like, all my technique and understanding of those sports allowed me to play at such a high level for so long. But then I started to lose my body because I wasn't training. I wasn't training to perform on those game days. I was using those game days as, like, practice, which honestly, led to a lot of weight gain. And that's when, that's around the time when Eddie and Lenny really started, like, getting at me. And I remember we rolled in Ray's basement, and I was drunk, and it kind of like got me past the, if I could wrestle with my friends, like, why can't I just try this? So I tried it and just hooked, man. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it a lot in the future on this podcast, and I'm gonna love to share, my feelings with others on like how important, the sport is to me. But I could just say that, leading up to this very moment where the three of us are, we've started our company. We're now beginning our production of what we think is going to be something special. It's all coming to fruition. Like, everything is coming to a head. And I think what the product that we're going to put out, people are really going to enjoy. So with that being said, we wanted to maybe talk about a little, show a little sneak peek about how we're going to be like. So Lenny, I don't know if you could pull up, one of the articles, maybe kind of spit a little bit from what you see there. and then we can have a little discussion about it.
So Eli, tell our listeners what we're about to look at. What happened now with Logan Paul? What's going on? A little controversy you want to talk about?
So
what's grinding your gears?
So what's grinding my gears? So I think we'll get to it. That Logan is a very lively character who brings a lot of attention. He's entertaining, and he's doing essentially a lot for boxing here. Him and his brother.
I think his brother. I think Jake is doing way more than Logan Paul. Logan Paul seems more of like a clown to me, but I mean they both are, I suppose. But I give more respect to Jake Paul because he's knocking dudes out. So like you could say he's not fighting boxers or whatnot. That's true. But he's knocking people out, and people are tuning in to watch a dude knock other people out. When you tune into fights, you want to see someone knock someone out. So I guess he's doing something right. But back to what you're saying.
So as we see here, and I don't want to forget. So remind me, Ed or Lenny, about bum fights. But
okay.
But as you can see here, thanks for bringing that article up, Len. So Logan recently put out a video, and what we see there is that he's got I guess a well-known professional with him to go over the packaging and to take a look at the actual purchase. And he had spent $3.5 million on this purchase, and ultimately what the professional states is that it's fake. So at that moment in the video, they open it up, they take a look at it, and when they open it up, they find G.I. Joe cards inside of it, and apparently those are worthless. So they're claiming essentially that they were bamboozled here. Now, I was thinking about it. I don't think they could lie as much as they want. There's no like legal ramifications here, but I gotta believe that this was all staged. I'm calling bullshit. For me, this doesn't make sense. I mean, this guy, you go look at the YouTube video that he put up, and you're gonna see. I haven't even seen it yet, but I guarantee it's probably like over 10 million views already. And this came out like 2-3 days ago, something like that. And look, Business Insider is giving us information on this. This is just a way to get people talking about something. There's no
like you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like me right now. Look, I'm just
way to feed into it.
I got bamboozled too. This is bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on Eli.
That's hilarious.
So
like, this guy doesn't deserve any of this credit or attention. I'm gonna give it to him right now, though.
Right. So Ed, why don't we talk a little bit about more like what the Paul brothers have done, here, and what they've done for the sport.
I mean, they haven't really done anything yet. They're just kind of like getting going. I feel like no, honestly, they're getting going. Yeah, they're stirring up conversations, I suppose. It's not like, oh, dude, let's reflect 5 years back. Remember what they did? Whew, man, they haven't done anything really yet. I guess Jake Paul is advocating for like, I don't know, more fair fighter pay, which is, I guess, I respect it. That's a valiant thing to do, I suppose. He's stirring up shit. He's got Dana White fucking sending him like FaceTime or just messages and shit. He's got under his skin apparently. So he's doing something right, but I don't know. They haven't really accomplished anything yet. I
think the Dana White thing is interesting because you got I mean, this guy is such a polarizing figure, or I should say the brothers, because it's not just one of them, it's both of them. Even if one is more of a clown than the other, but and one is more of a boxer than the other. But when you look at the fact that they can incite a Dana White, like that's how big they've gotten. They could get Dana White to respond in a way where even Dana has to be like, I got to make sure that I sting these guys with my comment. And he does. He tells them, why don't you worry about running your business and I'll worry about running mine.
Well, it's funny. He shits on them, but the more he shits on them, the bigger they're getting. He's like helping them.
It's like the WWE effect. You know what I mean? You're basically you're playing into this
And
drama.
it's a different entertainment aspect of it, you know. It's just building up like side storylines, you know, just to keep the combat game like interesting, I suppose.
Who was the fighter in UFC? I can't remember his name right now. Is it Covington? Was it
What,
Covington?
Kobe Covington?
Yeah. Who was it that took on the persona, the heel, in UFC? Because if he didn't, Dana and company were going to kick him out.
No. It was like he was too boring of a fighter.
Right.
So he had like a Candace Owens interview or some shit, and he explained it, which was stupid to do because he's explaining while he's still in character, like essentially building up to these fights. Because at the time, he didn't even fight Usman the first time yet. So it was like he was still playing the heel, but it was like, hey, I'm the magician, but here's how I do the trick. It's like, nah, dude, at least if you're going to go into character, stay in character and just, I don't know, don't explain it until like later on in your career, I guess. Right. I don't know. But yeah, he basically explained to her that they were going to, like, no matter what, win or lose, they were going to fucking, I forget what fight it was. It was before the Rafael Dos Anjos fight for the interim belt. It was like one fight before that. They basically threatened to fucking cut him because he was too fucking boring. And I guess he just, you know, put on that fucking Trump hating, like, you know, I'm with Trump, so everyone hate me. I'll build this character. And, you know, because he saw how much attention it got. I mean, it was kind of a smart move. It was douchey. It was certainly douchey, but it was a smart move.
So to backtrack back to Logan and what he said to Logan and what he said to Dana. So Logan wanted to increase minimum fighter pay per fight to $50K. It's only $12K right now. So those bullshit ass fights that we see sometimes at the beginning of the card, these guys are making this, and you know they're bringing their way up. You know, they get knocked out once or twice here, they get brain damage, and now they only made $50K. I mean, are they really even covering medical charges over their lifespan? I mean, I know that's a little biased in charge, but let me keep going. Guarantee UFC fighters 50% of UFC annual revenues. It was $1 billion in 2021. You know, this is something that anybody that works on a corporate level, like a breakdown of a bonus per the, you know, revenue that was made by the organization or the profit. That's something that's really common. So it doesn't surprise me. All right, let me rephrase that. It's very intelligent that Logan pushed this out there. I got to believe this wasn't from him. It's somebody that he paid.
Wait, wasn't this Jake Paul?
Or Jake Paul, I'm sorry. Was it Jake or Logan?
It's Jake, man. Jake's the one that's really advocating for fucking.
This is Jake.
It messes me up,
Paul,
man.
And
go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Eli. I think that it could be a PR, you know, maybe suggested or pushed move. But for me, I don't really follow either of the brothers really too closely, other than the fact that, you know, they're unavoidable in some sense, right? Because they're out there doing douchey shit. But in my honest recount of it, I mean, seeing something like this, just because I am such a fan of the fighting industry and everything, this won me over to one sense and being like, well, at least if they're going to be out there doing stupid shit and in one sense, perhaps making a mockery, some would say, but on the other hand, if this is the type of shit that they're going to be able to pull off or at least bring attention to, or bring the fighters to rally together to perhaps, you know, create a CBA collective bargaining agreement or something of the sort, then I have to say, then, you know, this was a cool move in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you could unpack this in so many different ways. I mean, you could even go as far to say that did Dana contact the Pauls or Jake Paul and say, hey, you know, let's start some beef, you know, and that's going to draw attention to what we're both doing. You know, and obviously,
no, but what's the gain for Dana White? Like
for Dana now, he's got more people grabbing onto his content. You know, even if it is in a negative way, there's still people that are going to want now to jump in and see, well, what is this about? Well, who is Dana White?
And he could do that without like without it being scripted either. You know what I mean?
Well, my point is that look at the whole idea of a heel. I mean, you remember back in the day watching wrestling, like as a kid, like the heel, you fucking hated that guy. You hated him, but you still like wanted to watch him, and you wanted his ass to get beat.
Oh, it was like Mayweather, man. Mayweather was the ultimate heel, bro, because he was the greatest of all time, arguably, and everybody tuned in because, well, I guess there was a lot of people that rooted for him too, but like, dude, like all of us, like we were mesmerized by his, his defense and outpoint his opponents, but we all wanted to watch him get knocked out because of the shit he says leading up to fights. You're just like, you're such a douchey. It's douchey,
Yeah.
That's why we rooted against like Kobe Covington,
Bro.
like that first Usman fight.
I think 50 Cent's level of appeal is literally a couple points higher, just for the simple fact that he was always talking shit to Mayweather. I think people like 50 more because he was shitting on Mayweather all the time. What was it that he said to him? He said, if you can read, and it was like a children's book. If you read this children's book and record, I'll donate $1 million to the charity of your choice. All you have to do is read a children's book. It's great.
Oh God,
man, this is great. Oh God, unpack this.
All right, let's go down the list. I mean, we're here, right? What's this website, by the way? Wait, go back.
What was it?
Just go through it quick. We'll just kind of like pop off who we think was like good or who fucking. Nah, keep going.
Nah, you're not feeling Billy Graham.
No, are you? Trish Stratus.
No, this website sucks.
Yo,
this
Trish
was
Stratus
just like
go to the top three. Let's go to the top three. Let's see.
This was just like a joke move as I get used to the production of this platform here, but
just go back to it.
No, let's not talk WWE. No. Let's not do
What
that.
Is it all WWE? That's it.
Amanda, our other producer, Amanda, is saying yes.
Look, if anything,
She's saying
from
yes.
the sides.
If anything,
she's saying yes. Do it.
We're not covering acting. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, for real though, they are real athletes. It's all scripted. It's a freaking soap opera.
It's a fun segue. I don't know why we can rip on like the last top 5 guys. Come on.
I think I'm gonna be pissed at one of them if it's there.
Hell yeah.
I think that perhaps since we're almost at time here, we're at 23 minutes. Why don't instead we kind of talk about adaptive, what brought us to start it, and where we see it going, where we're at now. I'll just kick it off. So I'll just kick it off from there. So Eddie and I, after training for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe, decided that, we had a couple cool ideas for things and why not, right? I think that we just kind of had, aspirations of saying like, why don't we somehow try to finally be independent in something, right? Be entrepreneurs and do something that we're really interested in, that we love. And, Eddie's an artist and I'm a kind of technophile, right? So I like to use the technology and try to come up with all these ways. And I think that together we decided, why not start a brand, right? And it took us kind of a while to come up with the logo that you see here on the screen, the octopus, and the name Adaptive. But once we had it, I think that we had such strong feelings about what we wanted it to be and what the octopus represents for us and the sport. And where do I see it going? I mean, I would love to build out great products, keep sourcing great products like rash guards, spats, and even different types of apparels, and really just things that are useful to not only jiu-jitsu but competitive sports. And 5-10 years from now, I'd love to see gyms or teams, right, sponsorships and affiliates and just really grow from there. And you guys are witnessing now. I've only shared the link to our jujitsu chat. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they
Yeah,
can be listening to this live if they wanted to. Although this is just kind of a pilot, but I think it's going well. We're starting to build this thing out. We're building a foundation of podcasting, broadcasting, sharing information, and I really think that that's going to bring attention to us and our brand and help us see these things for the future, right? That I mentioned just a second ago. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. You guys as my business partners know how I feel about it, so it's no mystery to you. But for anybody who might be listening in and the broadcast that we can download and share of this later, someone take it from there.
Well, just to piggyback off that, I think when we were first discovering the idea of doing this, I think it was because of our love for jiu-jitsu, and this kind of gives us like a reason to stay connected with jiu-jitsu and combat for the rest of our lives, essentially. If we grow this into an empire or something, who knows what it'll become, but that's like our aspirations, is to really integrate this amongst and grow the idea that jiu-jitsu and martial arts is such a good discipline for people in general. And then we'll cover so many things throughout our podcast and stuff like that, but like just how important it is mentally for people. People, there's this stigma of martial arts as being violent or whatever, but it actually teaches you to suppress it almost, because it's like anything else, right? When the wiser you are, the smarter you are, the more peaceful you are as a person. So it's like the harder you train, the more disciplined you are. I think it just creates the best version of you. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what our mission statement is, as far as like the podcast and our brand and our company. And we want to push it to really just grow people and ourselves, and we're all in this, in this journey together, I suppose. So, yeah, that's what it means to me and whatnot. And, I think we got something kind of special here,
So, so for me, I discussed a little bit in the beginning about how I joined in 2019, October of 2019, and it was a surprise to me at what this now means. The evolution of not only what I've learned and what I've been able to do on the mats, but what's transcended from there. The time that I spent working on specific movements and technique was also time spent with people and professionals and friends who have such deep meaning to us, because of the environment that a jiu-jitsu gym is. I mean, think about it. Like, the three of us with each other and with others, we're sitting there doing things to try and manipulate the body into pain and put ourselves in a state where you have truly been submitted. And how we always say, you leave the ego at the door. All of a sudden now the mind starts to grow, and as Hickson Gracie said in his newly released book, he said that it takes the mental, physical, spiritual, and physical. Did I say physical the first time?
Just keep going, man.
Apologies, but those four pillars, hold everything together. And for me, what the company is going to mean is that we get to focus that together. How each one of those walls, brings our life into a better place, and for us to just be able to breathe that content back to our followers. That's truly what adaptive means to me. Our pride and joy.
Well, amen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, guys. I mean, hey, we're right at 30 minutes, so I think that felt good for a first little dry run. I think that things went pretty smoothly. We can talk more about it offline. But yeah, if you're tuning in, you can check us out at adaptivejujitsu.com. We're at Adaptive Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram, on Twitter, Pinterest, basically Adaptive Jiu-Jitsu across the board in social media. You can get us wherever podcasts are available, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And yeah, thanks for listening. This podcast is brought to you by Raji Barrett Jiu-Jitsu. And, all of our other plugs here, plugs there. Check us out.
We'll get to them. We'll
Thanks
get
for
to
your
all
support.
of them.
Yeah, it will get it with practice too. But yeah, that was awesome. All right. Thanks, guys.